All right, we are live. Double check. Yep, here we go. 3, 2, 1. What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Here the Spear, presented to you by Noel Game Day. We are finally back after a little break. A lot of personal things going on, a lot of technical things going on, a whole new stream set up. But we are back live. We got almost the whole crew here. Carlos was just with us, but he's got some personal things in the production meeting he was dealing with, or he would have been here with us. But right now we got practically the whole crew. We got Dustin Lewis, our lead writer and editor, with us up there in the top left. We got Langston Shoes. I don't know who that is. Oh, Nate Greer at Nate Greer 26 here with us at the bottom left, lead recruiting insider, and Austin Veazey, lead basketball writer, also has some new breaking news this evening that we'll talk about later on. But gentlemen, what's going on? New stream setup. What's up?
Yeah, it's been 16 days. I'm glad you could, finally do some upgrades. Couldn't get that mic here, though.
No, you're not getting that mic until you be nice to me.
Couldn't give me that one-day shipping. You got me like that 30-day shipping.
Wow. The more work you put in, D-Lou, the more of a bigger budget we'll be able to spend on you.
It's been so long since we did a podcast that I was sick last time we did a podcast. I got better, and then now I'm sick again, so appreciate that.
So it's been a little bit. Langston Shoes, Pots and Pans. What's up?
What's up, man? I hate this stream, by the way. I think it's bullshit, but let's go for it.
Wow, that is rude of you. We left Zoom and now we're over here on StreamYard. There's a lot of advanced stuff we can do. I can move you. Look, I can put you here in front of everybody. I can even move around a few things. We can do this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You like that? Yeah, move your hair around a little bit more.
You should put Nate Greer better shoes than Michael Langston.
I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of people have better shoes than Michael Langston.
Face is blocked out on this graphic.
Yeah,
not missing anything.
Yeah, you're like, we're not really missing anything. But we're advanced over here. But so hope everybody enjoyed this. So just a little update here. You'll be able to comment live, and we'll be able to show it down at the bottom with you guys. Shout out to Eric here. We're going to be able to engage with you guys. So if you guys have questions throughout the stream, you'll be able to hang out with us, ask questions. We'll be able to answer them live, either if you're watching from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. It's going to be very interactive heading into the rest of this off season. But we're very excited about the new upgrade we did here. A little fancy. We're getting a little fancy on everybody right now. But yeah, it's been 16 days. Everybody, how have y'all been? Everything good?
Chilling. Just chilling.
If you stop muting me, I can talk.
I have to. There's noises back there. I have to mute it for a second.
Who cares, man? As we talked about, this is real life. Okay, I got kids. I got a family. If they want to make noise, I'm not going to make them a mute.
I'm going to get you a recruiting
suit.
Have you? I saw that you tweeted that you're sick. You faking it?
Yeah. So. Nah, someone at work got me sick. I think it's either like a chest cold or bronchitis.
Uh-oh.
Dude, it's all those bone-in wings. All those bone-in wings you've been eating. Your body's not used to it.
Correct. My body's not used to poison.
Oh, man, here we go.
My body's not used to poisoning itself by eating bone-in wings.
Please start the podcast.
All right, everybody. So let's jump into it. As always, you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Spotify. A lot of stuff to talk about. Let's jump into it right now. Midnight Madness, that was the biggest thing. Now it's been a little bit, but Midnight Madness was huge. A lot of people have already talked about it, but Mike Norvell opened up the doors at 12:01 when the recruiting period restrictions were taken away, and boom, they had music playing. They had photo shoots going on. They went outside and inside Doak Campbell Stadium. Mike Norvell was able to show off his new ride, which we kind of got tipped off early on. If you guys were in our Discord, you knew about it a little bit earlier on. But the new ride that he actually bought on his own budget, and he actually didn't affect the recruiting budget, and it looks pretty sweet. Y'all think the ride's pretty cool?
I think it's different than what you find in other schools. And, as I think we talked about at some point, you got to find what makes you stand out a little bit differently. And until Florida State can get W's on the field, they got to do things that create a little bit of attention, a little bit of interest in what they're doing. And it's pretty cool. I mean, drive around Tallahassee in a slingshot that's decorated up all Florida State and throw on a Florida State helmet. I think it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, there's no harm to it. The fact that he paid for it himself tells you, how bought in he is to the idea. So, let's go.
It's unique, but I'm just wondering how fast are they driving in this thing? Like, how are you showing it off?
From what I was told, Mike Norvell is using this stuff as obviously a recruiting tool, but he's going to be taking them around campus, around Tallahassee, showing them a few
Does
unique
it even have
things.
seatbelts?
I'm sure it does. Are you worried?
I mean, yeah, man, you got a 5-star recruit in the car. I want them to be safe.
VZ, would you roll in it?
Absolutely not.
Whoa! What?
It's a jet ski on wheels. That thing is ugly.
Wow.
I think it's a neat idea. It's not my thing.
Not your kind of thing. That's okay. That's fine. Brian Kelly, Nate obviously didn't think it was a cool thing. What do you think about that shot from him? Nate, or what did Brian Kelly tweet? He tweeted something about that we don't need cool rides or cool cars or whatever to get commits.
Yeah, coming from a guy who killed someone, that should, under his watch, let someone die under his watch because he didn't want to take him off the scaffold in order to film practice, and he falls off of it. But let's listen to Brian Kelly. He has as much right to say anything as much as Urban Meyer had writing a book about whatever bullshit he wrote about before when he faked his heart attack at UF about disciplining players or whatever it was. So Brian Kelly can eat a full bag of them as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm trying to find your tweet here that you put up, Nate. I'm trying to find it so I can show it to everybody on the stream here. Do you remember what you said with that tweet?
Well, what about like this coming from someone who has someone die under their watch?
Yeah.
That one?
I loved it.
I mean, come on, man.
Hey, he really kills it, though. He really does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He kills it with this program.
I hope that I wish nothing but failure for Brian Kelly. He's up there with Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier. And, he's up there for me in that pantheon of just douchebag coaches.
I'm right there with you. I agree. But moving on from this, going back into a little bit of Midnight Madness, seems like it was a pretty good success. You got to see Jaleel Skinner come. We'll talk about Kane Madden here in a minute, but you got to see a lot of these big-time targets come in. You also got your big guys, your big recruiting tools with you've got Travis Hunter. You've also got Sean McCall, who are 2 5-stars committed into the 2022 class in attendance. Who else, Nate?
It's Sam McCall, not Sean McCall.
No, I keep on saying Sean McCall, but it's Sam McCall.
Rodney Hill was there. He's been doing a lot of recruiting for Florida State, like on campus and through social media. So,
yeah,
a lot of guys.
Probably the biggest visitor was Julian Armella.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that one, Nate, because it seemed like a little kind of surprise that he was in attendance.
I think that it is surprising that he attended with the direction that recruitment had supposed to been going. So to get him to come up there was a big time W for Norvell and his staff. So I think that with Florida State, with him, it's all about can they show it on the field and show the direction. I think that what they can do connecting with recruits off the field, what Atkins can do, I think that they've shown that, and I think they probably showed a little bit more on the visit. But he's one of those recruits that he wants to see that progression. So but for a guy who really hadn't talked much about Florida State, and he's right there at 1201, I think that says really a lot about, where Florida State sits and how they are with him and his recruitment at this moment. So, and I think of, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you can mention Marvin Jones Jr. They needed to get him up there. So while he's probably been a little bit more than Julian, probably been a lot more than Julian Armella, you still would like to get, Marvin Jones Jr. there for that visit.
Agree. And, sticking with Armella, I think him coming up for that visit on the open, or as the dead period was lifted, that really, at least in the eyes of FSU, I think that makes him a little bit more attainable. And really the next key to me is getting him for an official visit. He went to one on LSU last weekend. I believe he's going to Bama either this weekend or later this month. So FSU needs to get on that list as well.
I fully expect him to play a part. Supposedly the dad, supposedly he's living with dad again, and the dad wants him at Florida State, but that doesn't always win out. So it's going to be an interesting recruitment to follow. So I think overall it was great. You could talk about Gabe Harris decommitting. I think that coming from a 2023 kid who probably committed without the lack of visits, still is strongly considering Florida State, but goes to a camp in Ohio State and just dominates it. And he's gonna blow up on the national scene. So, Florida State's got to be able to stay in that recruitment, and I think they will. I don't think a decommitment necessarily means that he doesn't end up back with them, but you can't necessarily be upset. And I know people talked about Nico Marchiol decommitting, using those guys as an example of failure of the Midnight Madness deal, when they, in my opinion, couldn't be more wrong with the Nico stuff was set in motion when AJ Duffy committed. And for me, in my opinion, based off what we've talked about, in our group chat and things that, are being said and heard or around the way, that was a major success. And you talk about, getting Elijah Pritchett on campus. You're talking about getting Armella. You're talking about the guys who were there. You're talking about getting Coleman there as the first place he visits, the top receiver in the country. Come on, man. To even remotely think that whole thing what was a failure, I just think it is pure on trolling at this point.
Yeah, it's trolling, most certainly. Uh-oh.
You're
muted there. Uh-oh. You muted yourself, I think, Nate.
I said Jaleel Skinner probably, possibly sealed the deal on that visit. So, just because people didn't publicly commit, and I think we talked a little bit about that on the Coffee Talk podcast about how, just because people don't publicly commit right at the moment doesn't mean it's a failure. You talk to people and there's a lot of positivity coming from that experience. So, you got guys coming in 2 to 3 times now since it's happened. So let's all relax and let it play out.
And Bishop Thomas too, another uncommitted prospect that came in on that visit. There's a good chance he could commit to Florida State before the start of his senior season.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Jaleel Skinner. He was with Travis Hunter that whole entire week practically. They were staying in room together, practically holding hands, walking in the moor every time, and it seemed like he really enjoyed his visit. As we know, I think earlier yesterday we saw that Skinner was over there with UF. Who are the teams for Jaleel Skinner, as he was just now promoted to or he was ranked now the number 1 tight end in the country for his class? What are the teams really to watch out for if he is maybe an FSU lean? Who is the guys to watch out? Alabama? Is it Florida?
Florida and Clemson probably. But he said himself he grew up a Florida State fan, and coming on that visit is a dream come true. Coming into the recruitment, a lot of people thought it was going to be Clemson, and then Florida is really trying to push the whole Kyle Pitts Part 2 thing, because Florida can't drum up their own originality when they recruit. It's always Part 2, or you're this person all over again, because they're so unoriginal. So let's just call him Kyle Pitts. But I think that's who you really look at right now is those couple of schools.
Agreed.
I think it's over.
You think it's over with Jaleel?
Yeah.
I mean, in Florida, who's going to be throwing to you? Sorry. Who's going to be throwing to you? That's why Eric Gilbert didn't want to go. He saw Emory Jones throwing the football, and he's like,
I mean, I was about to say he got out of Dodge, and you got that guy on PFF, whatever, disrespecting that side by saying Emory Jones is going to be a top 5 draft pick or whatever nonsense he put out there.
Wait, what was that? He put out a tweet a while
Some
ago.
writer for PFF said that he projects Emory Jones to blow up a la Mac Jones or Joe Burrow and be a top 5 NFL pick or some stupid thing like that.
Saw like a mock draft someone did where he went like top 10 to the Eagles, and it just makes
off of
sense.
what? Off of what? Was I seeing something that I don't know? It wasn't Kyle Trask out there 95% of the time, and then Emory's thrown in there to just give him a couple breathers. I don't know
honestly.
What drug are people on?
If Emory Jones is a top five NFL pick, that would make Dan Mullen the greatest offensive coach of all time.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's honestly worse than as a thrower. He's bad. Let's not talk about Florida.
Yeah, screw Florida.
This is a Florida State podcast, man. Let's talk about Langston Shoes.
That's your name on here. No, going back.
It's going to change every week, too.
Oh, God. I'm sure we'll have roasts about us soon on here. D-Lou, you were talking quite a bit with Rodney Hill during his whole time and experience during the week that he was at FSU. What did he say to you? Anything kind of tidbits there? How was his experience? How was kind of like the flow of everything, emotions, the vibe?
I mean, mainly he was just telling me that he had a great time. He came in on Monday, went to the Midnight Madness. So Tuesday at midnight, and then he ended up staying all the way until Sunday and left whenever the mega camp was beginning. So he was on campus throughout the entire week, and a lot of uncommitted targets came through. The guys that were at Midnight Madness, Nate, you mentioned Pritchett, and there was the Georgia guy. I don't know how you say his name. Is it Tyree West? Am I saying it right? I think so. But so there was some other guys that came through, and Rodney was up there along with Travis Hunter, and they were recruiting them, but they weren't pushing too hard. Just trying to show them why they're committed to Florida State and that they should give FSU a look. So, and on his end, he had a really good time. It was actually his first chance to meet the coaches in person. I'm actually hoping to get on the phone and do a full interview with him tomorrow sometime.
So like Nate was saying, I don't think the whole Nico, we haven't really touched on this really. I don't think we've been given a chance to talk about it, but you were hearing things too, D-Lou, on this, and Nate was, but Nico Marco not probably sticking with FSU, and we had predicted this a couple of weeks ago. It seems like Florida State feels fine with where they're at with AJ Duffy, but how it seemed such kind of like an awkward kind of decommitment. It wasn't really released by him. It was told by another outlet and other things like that. It just felt a little weird. And, I was getting texts all throughout that night and saying, what's going on? This is crazy, Nico Marco. I'm like, well, this was kind of something that was in the works a little bit. And, you should have known this right after Nico Marco, after AJ Duffy committed. Nico was tweeting quite a bit about looking forward to going visiting other places and all that kind of stuff. If he's going to be your lead kind of bell cow in a recruiting class, you don't like seeing that from your quarterback.
Go ahead. What? Oh. You're muted. But it
I
seemed like
didn't
in the weeks following the spring
I said
game.
ladies first.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it seemed like maybe Nico got word that Duffy would be coming on at the spring game. And then in the weeks following the spring game, he was just a little bit, I would say, noticeably silent on social media, not really supporting FSU as much when he had been, vocal every day, all day. And then he was randomly silent. And then at the same time, I was told that he wasn't being as active in the commitment group chat anymore. So, and then when Duffy committed, I mean, it just kind of stayed in that same vein. He wasn't really as connected as he was before. And, I don't remember when he decommitted. I've been working so much. Was it last week or the week before? But either way, the day that he decommitted, I actually got a text a couple hours before it went out public on Twitter and was told that he had left the group chat. So from there, I was like, okay, well, he's going to decommit sometime soon. And I mean, you guys know what happened from there. 247 put it out.
Yeah.
I put
Eric,
a full.
and-
Just
Eric
last thing, I
and-
put a full breakdown in the Discord of everything I heard on Nico from March to his decommitment. So check that out if you haven't yet.
That Eric, I don't think that I don't buy that he had a falling out with Coach Dillingham. When we had him on the podcast and everything, I think that that relationship was too strong for that to happen. I'm not going to bash the kid. He made a decision that's best for himself. I just don't like the implication that Florida State disrespected him. I just don't. I don't feel that. I don't see that. It doesn't make sense for someone to purposefully, a lot of times say, I've known about two quarterbacks. They've communicated with me. They've made it a point. I have relationships with the guys that they're looking at, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But all of a sudden things change. 2 and 2 don't add up here. So, at the end of the day, he made a decision for himself. Florida State has the better quarterback committed, far and away the better quarterback committed, and let's just keep it moving.
Yeah, it just definitely did feel weird with the fallout kind of thing happening there. I thought this would have been a little bit more of the tweet goes out, decommitted, and that kind of such. It was a little weird by him. And, we've had him on the show too. And he was a working bell cow for that class. But it seems like after AJ Duffy committed, he felt like, some things weren't straight with him and the staff maybe. But, he's off, visiting. He's already taken a few visits already. So. Best of luck to him. He came on here with class and was had a good conversation with him whenever he was on here. So best of luck to him. And this is a world of recruiting though, and that's what I kept on telling people that were texting me. This is the world of recruiting. I know it's we're starting to get back into the run of it. This is how it is, and we had a break after a year of a lot of this stuff, but we're fully back, and things like this is going to happen. Do you think, Nate, that Florida State feels fine with one quarterback heading with that class in 2022?
I think it depends on what happens with Tate and Chuba. And, quite frankly, right now, I think their targets they liked are committed elsewhere. So it's a kind of decision. You wait and see what emerges over the summer and fall. If a guy emerges that they like, do you consider taking a second? And they're going to take two for a reason. There's only one ball. There's only one football, and things happen. So, I don't expect Florida State to keep Jordan Travis, Chuba Purdy, Tate Rodemaker, AJ Duffy. I don't expect it. I think something happens, and you have to look at another option at some point to keep that depth in that room.
I'm trying to think of anything else with Kevin Coleman. Big time wide receiver target, 5-star, close with AJ Duffy. They were hand in hand during the visit there. Would love Florida State and Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham. Would love Dugans. Would love to get him to seal up his commitment and stick with Florida State. Any kind of things we've been hearing on that? We talked about it a couple months ago in April that he really enjoyed his time at the spring game, and it was around a few of already FSU commits at the time. Kevin Coleman, anything on the latest with him?
So, in my opinion, I feel like Coleman himself is actually pretty sold on FSU and what they can offer him and the coaching staff as well. And this visit seemed, to have him back on campus is huge as well. But to get his parents up here and to have them face to face with the coaching staff and to be able to discuss the plan that they have for Coleman and what they can do for him, because his dad is, I don't know if it's been publicly, but his dad seems like he's kind of pushing him towards Alabama, and FSU is going to need to be able to win over the parents to win this recruitment.
With Destin Hill, Kevin Coleman becomes that much more important. For me, he'd be number 2 right now, behind Marvin Jones Jr. as the most important recruit in the class, because you need that elite guy that's going to be there for 3 to 4 years. McLean showed some stuff during spring. Don't know yet if he's going to be a high-level guy. Whereas a Destin Hill definitely flashed that he can be that true number 1, Jamar Chase, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith type wide receiver. And I think Coleman is in that same kind of class. So if something happens with Hill and he doesn't show up and something is delayed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I think, Coleman becomes that much more vital to this class. He's already important, but having a Destin Hill in your back pocket makes that possible miss not hurt as much.
We were hearing a lot of positive things too about Kevin Coleman, like I was mentioning earlier when he came to the spring game, and I think I think I've been talking about it too. This whole class in 2023 maybe, but I think it's really going to start depending on what goes on the field this upcoming season. Is it going to be competitive with a lot of these games? Is this what helps seal a lot of these guys? I mean, I feel like that's just how it's going to be. I mean, definitely for your 5 stars, but your targets that you're after, if you're not looking competitive and you're going to this Notre Dame game and you're not seeing any kind of progress or anything, and Mike Norvell is trying to sell this message, and it's not, you're not seeing an actual product on the field that he's been preaching. Like, I feel like that's something that may be hindering some of these guys. Is there any latest with Destin Hill that we know of? Because that's kind of been a hot topic as of last week. He has not yet enrolled into FSU. Former 4-star wide receiver out of Louisiana. Florida State was able to hold on to him and grab him and sign with the Seminoles. What we've heard, there's just different kind of things all over the place with this whole story, but some certain things, personal things holding back. Even before he was signing, we were hearing some personal things were going on, Nate. But any kind of latest with him? Should we even expect to see him for fall camp? That's kind of the big question mark here, because that'd be a big loss for that wide receiver room heading into this upcoming season, because he was going to be an instant impact kind of guy. He's not going to start day one. He has a talent, in my opinion, but he was going to be utilized quite a bit this upcoming year. It's just way too talented. Any kind of latest on him?
Well, the initial word was thought to be, grades. That's not the case. It's other stuff. And it was reported supposedly he was very active in spring. And by that, I mean he was participating in meetings, watching film, talking to the coaches via Zoom. So I think that, he was doing the work beforehand in order to get ready for immediate contribution. But the longer it's delayed and the longer it's pushed back, the longer it takes for him to get on the field.
Jared's asking here, are any of our commits, current commits, heavily entertaining other schools? Do any other current commits entertaining other places that you know of?
So I would say when you look at the 2022 class right now, the guys that are verbally committed, all of them are extremely solid with where they're at. The guys that maybe had a chance of decommitting have already done so at this point.
I agree with that. I think that who's committed right now is locked in. I don't foresee any 2022 kids decommitting. I think they have a good base to where they're at with the class, and there's a lot of high hanging fruit that's available that Florida State has a legitimate good shot at. So I think they just build on that class.
Gotcha.
Take this thing off my face.
No, I'm trying to hide your face. This thing is coming in handy really well. This thing is working out really well. Going back and kind of finalizing Midnight Madness and FSU's big recruiting week in total, the big hit was the white helmets, which look pretty damn sweet in my opinion. I'm young. I like all different kinds of changes. I still love the gold helmets, so don't come after me. Don't put a gun to my head. Please don't do it. But I have really liked the white helmets. I've got a little thing here. I can show them off if I have it ready. Yeah, I do.
You don't even know how to use these new features.
I'm trying. Just the first time. Give me a break. But here's the new FSU white helmets. From what we've been told, they're not ready for game use. That's all I can say. But for recruiting tools, it's worked out very well, I think. Nate, you feeling them? I like them. You said they're litty fagitty. Austin's a fashion guru. He's the shoe guy. We take advice from Austin here, but
I mean, the all white uniforms are already one of our best. You put that with white helmets.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's the best uniform combination. I love the all white. And I think the helmet clearly is. They spent time on that helmet. It's not. I think the black and garnet two-tone helmet is ugly. I think the black helmet is not that great, but this white helmet is a great alternative. I like the spear. I like the face mask. It's just a great combination. The color combinations, everything is awesome. I know Notre Dame is a home game. I'd love to whip those out for game one, but someone else responded on Twitter. What about North Carolina? That's a great point. That'd be a big game to whip those uniforms out.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I'd love all white. We'll see if they do end up being a game ready helmet. Like I said, right now this is just a recruiting tool for Florida State and Mike Norvell to utilize that. But I'm wondering too. We saw tons of photo shoots. I can bring up some here, but we saw tons of photo shoots with all different kind of combinations. We got to see new ones too. I'm all about it. It works good on the gram, get more likes. The kids were loving it. But we got to see a lot of these guys doing it. This is my favorite. I got to say the all black with the gold helmet. We haven't seen it used in a long time. I think since Leon Washington played. It's been since 2000, Nate? 2009, 2008. It's been a minute. The all black and the gold lids are the best in my opinion. I got to see it. I think it's clean.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw those against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree.
All black gold helmet. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it break out then.
And speaking of this guy right here, Ba actually just got moved up to a composite 4-star per 247 Sports. So now Florida State does indeed have a 4-star offensive line commit. 6'6", 330, if I'm correct. 6'6", 330, big boy. He's been kind of a bell cow. He's been recruiting quite a bit on Twitter. He's been very active the last couple of this last week. Very active.
I think you might see a couple guys join him next month.
I think so. This was a...
Yeah, I think you might see... I have an interview. I've been really slacking on typing up the updates I have. But I talked to him after his time at Florida State in between his official visit. And you talked about the renewed presence of Florida State at IMG and how he feels that, Florida State's not done IMG maybe for this year and into the future. And as we know, if you follow me on Twitter at Nate Greer 26, don't mind the links and shoes. It's right after that. But, they have a running back, Stacey Gage, who I think is the best freshman I've seen since Chris Leak. So when I lived in Charlotte, I knew his brother, CJ, and watching this kid just be a monster in high school. He was just on another level. But I think Stacey Gage is probably the best freshman I've seen since Chris Leak. So, and Florida State is done a great job to cement themselves into his recruitment, even though he's a 2024 and there's a lot of time left. But that kid is, when you use the word elite, that kid is elite as a running back. So, very excited to watch him grow. Being right down the street from ING, I can watch him play a few times, but that kid is special.
I thought this was a pretty interesting tweet here from Travis Hunter, tweeting about Mike Norvell showing a lot of love. There is some, people out there, and obviously it's a kid in his recruitment, but some people wondering if he's going to really stick with Florida State. But this was something pretty interesting to kind of kill that whole conversation, talking about Mike Norvell, that I thought was good. If you want to get coached by somebody that's going to push you to the limit, make sure you have the best version of yourself and want you to succeed in life. Mike Norvell is that coach. Can't thank him enough. How big is that? I mean, that is the you don't find him anywhere else. This is your guy, Nate. You don't find this kind of stuff anywhere else.
I think it just shows that he's bought in. And I mean, he believes in Mike Norvell. I mean, you can just see it with how hard he recruits for Florida State in person, these last however many days he was on campus, and also on social media all the time. And I mean, it's been consistent from the very moment he committed to Florida State. He's never wavered in that commitment. And I mean, honestly, I'd say it feels like he's locked in more than ever right now.
When you have the best player in the last three classes committed, that's going to catch people's attention. And the fact that, one, he is so active on social media. Two, he's so active on visits. Three, he participates in camps. He's competitive as all can be. And people just latch on to him. So, when you have a guy like that committed, it changes a lot, because it's very much like a LaMarcus Joyner. It changes that belief, and it changes that thought. Hey, if they got a guy like Travis Hunter, maybe I should consider that school too. Yeah, and that's why I think you see a guy like Sam McCall, who just canceled his visit to South Carolina. I think that you're going to start to see more kids shut it down for their class and really lock into the recruitment part. But, I've said a lot about Travis Hunter, and I'm going to say it every single podcast that we do, just how good that kid is. If he could play 2 years and be out, he should. He's that good. I'm sorry. You can call that hype. That kid is on a different level.
Mm-hmm. And he does it with pads on. We've seen all kinds of updates and videos and highlights on the gram and Twitter about him without pants. Yeah, everywhere. Without pads. And then he has a spring game, and it just kind of just looks easy for a little bit there.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. So in shorts, he just physically dominates you, with these acrobatic catches, like he just mesmerizes you. And then in pads, he takes a screen pass, makes two cuts and he's gone.
Just runs right by you.
Yeah, the speed, he looks even faster with pads on. Like his game speed looks even faster than you would in 7-on-7. And granted, 7-on-7 is very kind of, in my opinion, kind of jumbled together. You're playing on a smaller field. You have a lot of guys around you. It's a smaller space. But here's a guy that when you put pads on, he just looks even better. So I know rivals who, whatever, rated him as number 2. At least they're halfway smart and close to putting him as number 1. Give him his props, man. He deserves it. He's the best player in the country.
He's incredible, man, and it's just good to see him. He's almost like a week and a half. He was at FSU helping recruit. It felt like, huge recruiting tool, gigantic recruiting tool. And like I said, for guys like Jalil Skinner and also Kevin Coleman being there, big time targets, and you also have Armella. It was a big time to have him there. He's huge. I want to go through a question here. This is for D-Lou and also Nate from Rayro, asking what linebackers does Florida State have a chance at getting? Any kind of updates on that front?
So you've actually got one guy coming in this weekend on an official visit. That's Omar Graham. And then, there's some other guys on the board. I think FSU is still trying to figure out, where the interest is mutual. There's Wesley DeSaint. I don't know if I'm saying it right. EJ Lightsey. There's some guys on the board.
I'm a big fan of
escaping me.
I'm a big fan of the Martin kid from Georgia. If you've been following me on Twitter, I talked about him a little bit on the Mark Rogers podcast too. The kid is just extremely athletic.
The dude from Lee County.
Yeah, just you need to watch. Go watch his highlight film. He's on a different level in terms of the sideline to sideline, the instincts you can see him are there, no false steps. It comes with violence. I like him a ton. I don't think they're done yet with the kid that committed to Georgia Tech. His name is escaping me right now. I don't know why.
Deron Willis.
I don't think that they're done with him. I think you look at, Omar Graham. Yeah. I think you look at, like you said, I think Bisanthe is probably the number 1 on the board right now. But, for me personally, I like Martin a ton. I think he'd be a great fit for the defense.
I didn't even mention him.
You look at Devin Smith out of Orlando. There's a lot of guys. I think that board is far from done yet. And, I think it's going to be much different after more summer camp visits, after a fall season when coaches can go out and evaluate. I think the board's going to look totally different, period. But I think linebacker is a position that, I think they're not close to done evaluating.
Going to the next segment here, there's been a lot of camps going on. If Los was here, he would be able to tell us, too, about his time during the 7-on-7 camp. He spent some time with Mike Norvell and chatting it up during his experience, but he's sadly not with us. But we can kind of go over a little bit. So Florida State had their mega camp, which seemed to be a huge, big-time success with, over 3,000 kids there, right there on the rec field in front of College Town. They're doing drills with position coaches, and then as we know, the most recent ones, the 7-on-7, and also the big man camp that was inside the IPF for a majority of the time. Seemed like there might be some things coming out of this, maybe out of the big boy camp a little bit, maybe some good news incoming for Florida State that we might need to keep an eye on. As we know, there's guys like Elijah Pritchett. There's also Quashawn Sapp that seems to be kind of leaning in Florida State's ways. Any kind of latest from those camps, if you guys have heard anything?
So I would say the mega camp, by all accounts, went extremely well. Even though there was a ton of kids, from what I was able to tell, it seemed like everybody was able to get reps and there wasn't like long waiting periods or anything like that. Everybody was able to get a chance. And, we saw Florida State offer some recruits that had a good showing out there. And at the same time, you think about all of the other college coaches that were out there from across the FBS, and there was D2 schools out there. I'm trying to think, I think there might have been an NAI school, but there was just a multitude of different coaches, different personalities. And I think, being able to have everybody out there and just interacting and building relationships, it was bigger than just the performances of the guys on the field. You know, who knows down the line, maybe a coach that was at this camp that Mike Norvell talked to for 15 minutes, like, I don't know, Chris Thompson retires. He's like, oh, I talked to this guy at the mega camp. He seemed pretty cool. I'll give him a call and interview him for the position. I mean, it's little things like this. And, you know, these relationships could come back and be big.
Yeah, it's networking. And I've done a couple of interviews with guys that I know that Florida State's not going after. Maybe they talk to them a little bit after. But I just want to get the vibe of the camp. And there's a lot. I talked to a couple of coaches, high school coaches that were there, and they were just blown away about the way the campus ran, about the organization, about the openness of the coaching staff at Florida State and of the coaches in general that were there. You know, you would think that it would be a little bit of a jumbled mess and maybe some disorganization, but, you know, they ran it really well. It was very, very, very planned out, and it was a great opportunity for a lot of these recruits who may not be Florida State material, but get their shot. And, you know, quite a few kids got offers that day from schools like a Charlotte or Akron or whatnot. So, you know, I think it's a long-term play. Also, short term, evaluate some kids that they wanted to see for 2022, 2023. But, you know, you asked about like SAP and all kind of things. You know, Dustin alluded to it here. Pretty soon, Florida State's going to have a string of long-time leans making decisions. So I think over the next few weeks to, you know, a month, you're going to see Florida State's class grow a little bit and at positions of need. So, you know, the game was a success. There was a lot of positivity, a lot of goodwill for a coaching staff that has been knocked for an inability to recruit Florida. I think that's over now. Just based off, you know, spending time in Miami, you know, doing these remote camps before the mega camp. They've gone way beyond any realistic need of extending olive branches or extending their desire to be, you know, a destination for high profile kids in Florida. So I think they've done a lot of goodwill.
And guess who's doing youth camps now? Manny Diaz.
Florida, Miami. Copycat.
Funny.
It's copycat league.
That's just trying to get on the train.
Funny how that works. Jared's telling us that Sam McCall took a visit to UCF, didn't enjoy it.
It was for fun.
No, I mean, not even worried about that. You know, Sam McCall is locked in, and then Sam McCall is locked in. You look at 2023, Cormani McClain, you know, very tight with McCall, who's arguably the top one or two DBs in the country. Definitely maybe the top cornerback in Florida. I mean, you know, we're getting serious here now at that point.
And McCall also said that he will not visit Florida.
That's a big one. That is a big
formally
one.
Committed there.
Yeah, that's a big one. And everybody was kind of worried about McCall's, you know, he was going to stick with FSU if this was just kind of commit and then weigh out some other options or really be a locked-in guy like Nate just said. So it seemed like I would think Midnight Madness might have helped just a little bit more too on that kind of front. You know, he's kind of being the tag teaming partner with Travis Hunter. Absolutely. As
long as Travis Hunter is committed, Sam McCall is going to be committed.
Write it down. Put it down. And when you're still getting the tattoo, Nate, right? If Travis Hunter decommits, the NG on your, where are you putting it at?
On my ass, yes. Yep.
I thought you said you're putting it on your forehead.
No, my butt.
Okay.
My right butt.
Well, I'll take it. We'll take it.
You know, so Reed Pribble, who do you think is better, Dalvin Cook or Ward Dunn?
Yeah, I'm bringing that up.
Yeah, Ward Dunn's my favorite player of all time, but he's not a better running back than Dalvin Cook. He's just not. Imagine Dalvin Cook playing behind the offensive line that Ward Dunn had.
Dalvin Cook single-handedly carried the team for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
2 years. I don't know about 2.5, but 2 years for sure.
Dalvin me all day long. I mean, luckily to see him in person and play, but like Nate was saying, the offensive line and what he had to work with and the magical things he did, I got to go with Dalvin. But this is no shot at Warwick. This is no shot at Dunn either. This is no shot.
No, Warwick Dunn is one of the best running backs in ACC history. One of the best players in Florida State history in a program that's had a lot of greats. Dalvin Cook is just that special. And we're seeing it in the NFL. You know, it's a shame he plays for the Vikings. I wish he played for Chicago. but seriously, like, how many yards does he go for behind an Alabama offensive line or behind Florida State's offensive line in 96, 97?
They would have just looked easy. I'm just thinking it. I mean, I would have just been.
You know, back then, running backs were like tailor made for the Heisman. Like, he dominates.
Mm-hmm. It's not even close. Dustin, you're quiet on this one.
I mean, you guys said it all.
Thank you. Thanks for your analysis.
Dalvin play. Plus, I've got to see Dalvin play in person, and I mean, man, he's different. You know, so I'm a little biased. I never got to see Warwick Dunn play, but Dalvin was just different out there.
You know, we need to touch on this. It's not in the docket, though, but the latest College Football Hall of Fame nominees have been placed. Guy we were just talking about, Warwick Dunn, Marvin Shadetree Jones, and P-Dub.
The fact that
former Hear the Spear alum.
I'm sorry. The fact that Marvin Jones and Peter Warwick are not in the College Football Hall of Fame is a facade. Marvin Jones, in my opinion, and I'm right on this, don't argue with me, is the best linebacker in college football history.
In my opinion.
What about Luke Kuechly?
Luke Kuechly?
I saw that comment yesterday where someone said, I was like, man, stop.
So like I said, CJ, CJ is my boy, but Marvin Jones played on a defense with a bunch of animals and still put out crazy stats. If he played on a Boston College defense where he's the primary guy, he's getting 177 tackles too. Shout out to Unconquered Talk and CJ and Steve, but you killing me with that CJ. Kuechly's a better pro. Kuechly's a Hall of Fame talent, but in terms of college linebackers, man, Marvin.
Different animal.
Peter
it's crazy.
Warwick
He is
not in the College Football Hall of Fame. What? I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't understand. I don't really follow the College Football Hall of Fame. It seems like it's a lot of politics involved. The fact that Peter Warwick is not in the College Football Hall of Fame, and he left college 22 years ago. Come on,
one of them. And he's one of the most talked about players in the last couple of years. Has been mentioned so many times by NFL greats. Chad Ochocinco just talked about, had an argument about him, being one of the best college football players ever. And this man, not even for his position, but ever, and hasn't even been placed in the College Football Hall of Fame yet. It's unreal.
If that Florida Gator fan, Dillard's cashier, didn't tattletale on the Dillard's hookup that everyone got, he wins a Heisman.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think it's, like you said, political, and it's things that maybe are off the field. Who do you think out of these three, though, realistically gets in? Is it going to be Marvin Jones? I think for me, I'm saying Marvin Jones or P-Dub. I don't know. It's tough. You're muted, Langston Shoes.
If Peter Warwick and Marvin Jones don't get in, just shut this shit down. No, seriously.
It's a joke.
What's the purpose of a Hall of Fame, right? A Hall of Fame is there to honor the all-time greats, right?
Yeah.
So why are two of the all-time greats not in it? I'm sorry. And as much as I hate Deion Sanders, as much as a jackass as he is, it took him a while to get into the College Football Hall of Fame. That's just stupid. It's dumb.
It's idiotic.
Dumb. Just as it's dumb as Leroy Butler's not in the Pro Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that is true. That's another good take there. If you got any more rants, give it off. Anything else? You know, Travis Hunter's number one in 2021, 2022, and 2023 class.
Do you want to talk about the
Willie Taggart needed more
Cain
games?
Madden?
Taggart needed more games?
No. he needed 21 less games. All right. You want to talk about the Cain Madden tweet?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go about the whole Cain Madden. Oh, yeah, the Cain Madden thing that went down. The whole thing. Everybody was after you. You know, everybody was after you, which, you know, for the time, we'll go over it. But, you know, a lot of what we'll go about, obviously, Cain Madden, he picks Notre Dame, blah, blah. He goes there for about like 6 hours, and he just already says Notre Dame's going to be it. Notre Dame swooped in a little bit later. At the time, for a lot of people, not only Noel Game Day, we were hearing a lot of positive things with FSU and the interactions they've been having and the calls, and then once on campus. But whenever Notre Dame was able to swoop in and switch it up.
Logan,
Notre Dame swooped in and took him.
Stop being around the bush. We heard a lot. The word "a lot" of positive stuff, I think, would be an understatement.
Yeah.
Like, we were told it's done. It's a done deal. He's coming.
Yeah.
Notre Dame swooped in. It is what it is. But, you know, for people to act like that, you know, they didn't say the same, or to have, you know, twat waffles from your Big Three Stupid podcast come out and try to call me out on Twitter with screenshots of our Discord. I have no regrets of what I said, because what I said was what happened at the time. I don't think Florida State expected Notre Dame to come in like they did, and expected Notre Dame to switch it up as quickly as they did. And you know, 24/7 and all them guys, I'm going to say it here, I don't care, we're quite confident. So let's not, you know, switch it up and pretend like, oh, we weren't real sure, we were hearing, you know, let's not, you know, come on, man. Be true, be original, be authentic. Don't switch up your fucking crystal balls at the end because, you know, you want to be right. Be right. Be right or be wrong. With me, I'm either right or I'm wrong. And I'm going to tell you why I thought I was right, or why I'm right. I'm going to tell you why I'm wrong. This is what happened. This is what I was told. That's part of recruiting. But to have a little, you know, show boy, whatever, you know, put something out there on Twitter, I think was just ridiculous. And it's a shame that, you know, it's come to the point it's come to. But, you know, I have no issue standing up for my tweet or for No Game Day's tweets or for our information when, you know, at the time when we were told that, it was done, and there's a lot of confidence even coming into the visit that it was going to be sewn up. So let's all take a step back and stop faking and being posers.
Going on into
That's all I gotta say about that.
The last little football segment here before we get to some basketball stuff with the Austin's latest. Real quick, it came today. This has been kind of blowing up with the college football playoff reportedly looking at moving to a 12-team playoff system. So going from 4 to 12,
it's a mistake,
which is a significant change. What's y'all's first little thought of that?
It'd be a mistake. 12's too many. Like I think most people can agree 4's not quite enough. But I feel like if you do 12, just there's so many teams that don't deserve the playoff bonuses and the playoff hype. Like there's not that many great teams that deserve a shot at the championship. That's just my opinion. I think 8. Like if you're going to expand it, do 6 or 8. 12's too many.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to go from 4 to 12? I mean, they're not even going to experiment with anything smaller first. They're just going to go from 4 to 12. And they've been doing, 4-team format now for – this will be the 8th season coming up. So I don't know. I think that's too drastic of a change, in my opinion. So I would like to see him try 6 or 8, and maybe if that doesn't work how they see it, maybe explore 12 from there. But 4 to 12 is just too much for me.
If you go 12, why not just follow the FBS route and have was it 24 teams? I'm not sure exactly how many are in the 1AA Division II playoffs, but if you're going to go 12, what's stopping you from going 24? I think 12 is too much. I think that's when you get one and 2 lost teams that maybe shouldn't be there.
I mean, there's a lot of times where the 1-4 games are already just blowouts. Do we really want to see 2 weekends of blowouts before we get to good games? I think I think it's just dumb.
I mean, this year, what do you see? So yeah, it's 1 versus 12, or 1 and 2 get however it's going to be set up. Who would have been number 12 this year?
They are looking at Brett McMurphy's tweet up here. 12 would have been Coastal playing the 5 seed Notre Dame.
Okay, so how that game would have gone?
Notre Dame by probably 30.
That would be pointless. Why do that?
They're trying to look for the storyline and more moolah. That's exactly all.
I guess the underdog teams get more of a shot. So, if you do have a team like Coastal, they get a chance to make the playoff instead of having no chance at all. So they can't. So it'd be like the same thing as UCF. Like that undefeated UCF team forever is like, oh, we won the national championship that year. We went undefeated. Well, this way you put them in the playoff and they get their asses kicked.
That's why you think, like, if you're going to do it, do 8. You do 5 conference champions, 2 at-larges, and then if there's that one really good group of 5 team, you make them that 8 seed.
I agree with Austin. Go 8. I think that every conference winner should be put into it. And then you have your at-large, and then you have your best group of 5. I think that's the best way to do it. That way all the big conferences get their cut of the money, and then it gives an opportunity for a Georgia who loses 1 game to get into it, which is what they want, but also, let's call it what it is. Probably what is deserved span. Don't get me started. I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, I'm looking at a few of these tweets on here. It's like the earliest decision to officially expand to 12 teams is this upcoming September. I saw a few tweets too. Also, if this were to go in effect, it would begin as early as 2023. So that these last 2 seasons could be the only 4 teams in.
What do you mean? This would be the last season.
2023. So you'd still have 2022.
Yeah, that's the last 14 playoff.
No, you'd have.
Yeah, this year, next year is what Logan said.
Yeah.
Next year it would start, wouldn't it?
2023 is in 2 years.
I get it, but the next playoff that will be held will start in 2022.
Okay,
well, you're thinking.
Never mind.
Yeah. When you say 2013
national,
when you say 2013 national champions, even though the game was played in 2014, it's still the 2013 national champion.
Okay, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Justin, be quiet.
Don't be mean to him now.
I just wanted to clarify.
He's clarifying for those that might have a couple question marks.
A disability.
Khalil Young saying 2025, 2026, not 2023. I don't know. I saw a few things on Twitter. I don't know if you guys also saw it, but I was seeing 2023. It could go as early as then. Might be wrong, but this is earlier from today.
You may be able to say them.
Either way, 12's too many.
Do you think this is an exciting day for college football fans if this goes to 12 teams?
I mean, I guess in some ways.
More football? Like
more
that takes
game.
If you really want to get excited about like Iowa State, Cincinnati next year.
I mean, so does that go to like? I thought they play 17 games. So does that mean that they go to a 9-conference season, and then one out of conference game, or go back to an 11-game regular season. I mean, what does that look like?
That's what I'm wondering.
I doubt they play 17 games. I think that removes 1 or 2 of your half-ass games against a Savannah State and a Florida State game. I think that jeopardizes that possibly a little bit. But I think that I want to see what it looks like first, because I don't want to sit here and go down to 10 games and then.
Well, it's showing on here too. I was seeing that the top 4 seeds also get buys in the first round. So that changes up some certain things too right there. I don't know. I think there's still a lot more. It's interesting to keep an eye on. There's going to be a lot of things changing, and we'll be hearing new things. But this is a huge change, gigantic. But and it seems like drastic. This is. Yeah, it's drastic, and it seems like it's like literally kind of almost a done deal. That's what Brett McMurphy's making it sound, and some other places. Like this is done. This is what will happen in 2023. We'll be seeing a 12-team playoff, which makes it pretty interesting. And FSU has a chance now.
Florida has a chance.
Miami. I would say Miami might have a chance, but no.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
John saying he doesn't agree. Don't need to see an increase in the number of teams.
Khalil Young. So I think the first 3 words, just go ahead and I would just disregard that thought, whatever follows after that.
I see that one.
I think that Josh Sweat, the fact that he was able to play college football and play it at a good rate is a feather in his cap, because that kid damn near lost his leg. He went from the number 1 player in his class, stayed a 5-star, and played as a freshman, and played well as a freshman. And I thought he had a solid career. He didn't have the career that junior season Josh Sweat you'd expect because of the knee injury. But the fact is, he got drafted and he's still in the NFL. So I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous.
He's doing pretty well in the NFL right now.
I want to change my name.
Yeah. It's starting to come after now. We've had a few comments in here. Let's go and do a little bit of basketball here, unless anything else comes up in the comments. VZ, we've been keeping up to date with it. Terrence Mann, I got to watch the Dallas Mavericks have meltdowns whenever Terrence Mann was rolling over there last week. But it seems like right now you're looking at Trent Forrest versus Terrence Mann in that series. It's pretty fun to watch. It's cool to see these Knowles out there performing well, too.
Only difference is Terrence is actually playing right now compared to Trent, who will only play if it's mop-up duty. They're winning by 40 in the playoffs, which it's not going to happen. The Clippers are too good of a team to let that happen. But I'm glad the Clippers are finally realizing, hey, we have this 6'6" versatile defender who can guard 1 through 5. Let's put him out there. And Terrence has been great for them. He's been exactly what they need, bringing in, energy, defense, hustle, charisma. That team's so bland when you look at Kawhi and Paul George and Reggie Jackson. Then you're bringing a guy in playoff who has passion. Hey, you bring in T who actually has passion, and it's something they need. It's not like with Patrick Beverly, who's fake hustle. Terrence Mann's actually out there working, and they need it. If they make it past the Jazz, he's going to be a huge reason why, because he could put good minutes on Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. Dealy, you still watching basketball after your Clippers lost?
I'm not
a Clippers fan.
I'm not a Clippers fan.
I mean, Celtics, my bad.
But yes, I got, sorry, Austin, but I got a chance to watch the Game 7, and Terrence Mann balled out. I mean, when he's knocking down his jumper, everything comes together for him. Because like you said, the hustle, the defense, he's got that. And then the nights the jumper's on, the Clippers are usually going to win by a lot.
He shot 41% from three this season. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I mean, he was killing it for them this year. And he still has to be more confident. We saw it at the end of game. What was it? Game 6, game 5 or game 6? I think it was game 5.
I think it was 5.
Where he had a layup. Luka was guarding him in transition. He passed it off to Batum instead, and they lost the game. Terrence Ino takes that shot. We saw it against Virginia Tech in 2019. We're used to him taking that shot. I don't know why he didn't. And you could see immediately after the play, he was pretty upset that he didn't take that shot. But the Clippers are realizing that he's the guy they have to play.
Mm-hmm. It's good to see that kind of energy in the NBA too. But I mean, it helps a little bit more that he's a former Knoll. But man, it's cool to see him bring that.
Helps even more that he was on Hear the Spear.
That is true. Former alum. Got to get him a ring. Then we bring him back on. Say NBA champion. But yeah, it's been fun watching him. Trent's going to take a little while, but let's get him in there a little bit more.
I mean, same thing with Terrence. You know, he wasn't as big a part of the rotation last season as he is this year. So, you know, the Jazz, they've got some good guards on that roster, and I think Trent is going to get his chance.
Especially in the playoffs when Conley goes out, they can push Mitchell to the 1. You know, they don't really need another point guard out there. And Trent still has to, he has to work on his jump shot a lot, especially in that offense that heavily relies on three-pointers. He's got to be able to shoot it. So another offseason where he can develop, I think that'll be huge for him.
There was some news earlier during the production meeting about a big-time Florida State target with Trey Mitchell. We've talked a few times about him on here, VZ. And you've been very excited if Florida State's able to land him. That'd be a huge get for the Noles. But it seems like he was able to make a visit to Leonard Hamilton. Big time right here. Something to keep an eye on.
Huge. He's the best transfer left on the market, regardless of position. He averaged 17.9 while shooting 38% from three last year. This is a big time player. You know, got to Tallahassee, no one really knew about it. And we're just now seeing today that he visited Florida State last weekend, visiting another school this weekend, and then a decision's supposed to come hopefully this time next week. It's a very weird recruitment. For those that have kept up with it, he really wants to play for his stepdad, who's also looking for a job right now. I don't see Florida State doing that. I don't see Florida State saying, hey, we need this kid so bad, let's bring on his stepdad as well to be a coach or be an assistant or whatever.
Can't make him the water boy.
But I mean, the kid's so talented.
Like a GA.
Who's the stepdad?
Student assistant.
Tony Borgeron, something like that. I'd have to look it up again.
Could he?
They can't give him a role and name only.
I wish. Yeah, so
like
it's
coach, but he never
it's
showed
Tony,
up.
his
Can he
name's
give
Tony Bergeron, who's an assistant at UMass.
Oh.
Can he give out posters like when fans come in?
We'll see.
You know, halftime show.
Mitchell released the top 6 a couple weeks ago of Florida State, Illinois, LSU, Georgia, Bryant, and I forget the 6th. But at this point, I don't see Georgia getting him. I don't see LSU getting him, given that they just got Efton Reed. Illinois has gotten a few players. So we'll see. I right now, I think he's Florida State's to lose, given that they got the very important first visit. We'll see where he goes this weekend, whether it's Bryant or whether it's whatever other school's on his list. I forget off the top of my head. We'll see what that second visit is this weekend, and people will be watching him closely next week. He did just get the very important CY follow. And
it's like the K camp for football.
I don't know about K camp. It's more like when I don't know. I don't know a good way to compare it.
Well, damn, screw you then.
Yeah, I don't know a good way to compare it. Well, it's not like with football where you have certain position coaches after certain players or through a certain area.
Yeah.
CY is the main recruiter for Florida State basketball.
True.
I'm just wondering, like, you've got a grad transfer putting out a top schools list. Like, have we gone too far at this point?
I don't think so.
Recruiting too much?
No, I think too far has been the edits for camp visits. That's too far.
There's edits for camp visits now?
Or list or, announcements of camp visits or whatever it is.
Yeah, I never did my graphic during my camp visits when I went down to USF. When I faced against Derwin James, I faced against Derwin James when I was a sophomore in high school. Nate, did I tell you that? One of your favorite guys, Derwin James. He didn't want any part of me though on my side of the field.
Wish I could have seen it.
You wish you could have been there? There was ESPN was fighting for rights. NBC, Bleacher Report. Everybody wanted to be there to see the matchup between you and I.
The skinny ass white kid in front of me with 50-year-old woman legs.
50-year-old woman. I still think it's freaky that you look at my legs and you
Karen legs.
Nate Greer dissects my legs. Like he really does.
No, it's that you post a picture online, and it's what pops out to me is your woman legs.
My woman legs? I don't think I have woman legs. I was doing 315 squats earlier. What were you up to? What were you doing?
Eating soup.
Oh God!
That was oatmeal.
Well, yeah, I do. Oatmeal.
I thought that was oatmeal.
Yeah, it's my porridge for my night time.
Have you already had your diaper changed?
Yep.
Well, I thought you had soup like 5 p.m. because that's when that crowd eats, and then at about 7 you have your oatmeal because it kind of lows you down. You have a little glass of milk and you go to bed.
5 o'clock I have my early dinner special, and like 7 o'clock I have my my Geritol, and then I'm way past my bedtime right now.
I can't believe we're keeping you up this late. This is the first time in years. I'm joking. No, I'm not. Unless anybody else has anything else, I'm trying to see if there's a comment on here. We can answer this last thing real quick. This is from Khalil. What is our record if Francois doesn't get hurt in 2017? I think Florida State wins at least 8 or 9 games. The fact that we barely lost to Clemson because of Blackman supports that. What do you guys think? In my opinion, I think it hurt. I mean, obviously, you lose Francois, you're throwing in a true freshman with James Blackman, and you also had Jimbo kind of out the door, thinking about going out the door. Nah. I think if Francois stays healthy, that whole kind of storyline is interesting to me.
I don't think it changes that much, honestly.
I'm going to pull that schedule. I think by that point, the culture had turned toxic. In hindsight, that team just wasn't moving in the right direction. I think that you look at the quarterback and you got it.
Yep.
So I think that they still beat. I think they go 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. No, they lose to Clemson.
Oh,
I think they lose to Bama, Clemson. They lose to Bama, Clemson, and Louisville.
So Francois flips that Boston College game around, 35-3.
Yeah, man, that team was mentally shot by that point early. That was at Boston College, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wasn't that
look at that
their
schedule.
bandana game?
Yeah, it was. You look at that schedule before Boston College. Florida State with Francois might be undefeated. Well, except for Alabama, 1 loss going into that game.
I mean, it was the same way in real life, so does it really matter?
I think they go 9-3.
I guess
Remember-
without Miami, I forgot I was going sideways. Never mind. I don't know why it doesn't go up and down. It's dumb. Never
Yeah,
mind.
it's
I
kind
don't
of
know.
confusing.
Google.
It took me a second. Really, I think the only one that would probably change is Miami. One of Miami or Louisville. One of those two.
What about
would change.
NC State?
Yeah.
Scroll up.
Scroll up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat NC State.
Two of those three would probably change. I don't know all three would, but two of the three would. So I'll say eight.
It was all one possession games.
I think that's 9-3 because of who you have on the team. Just they still had skill there. By that point, the team, the lack of accountability was already there. The bullshit had already seeped in and was already part of the culture.
Mm-hmm. Akers was a true freshman, but you also had Jack Patrick as a veteran running back. God, you had so many running backs. Amir Rasul was there. Ryan Green. Vickers was also there. Zaquandre White.
Man.
I also had Auden Tate.
I wish that it would have worked out for White. He was really good in high school, dude. Watching him down here, like he was good.
Mm-hmm.
It just hasn't worked out for him.
Nope. You also had Tamarion Terry as a true freshman. Ryan Izzo, who's done pretty well so far in the NFL for himself with the Patriots. Landon Dickerson was still enrolled, Nate.
No comment.
No comment?
That kid made the right decision.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Corey Durden was a true freshman that year.
Woo! Corey Durden.
And, of course, you can't forget Derwin James, though.
That was Marvin Wilson's true freshman season, 2017.
Mm-hmm. You also had Christmas, too, on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Marshall was in his 18th year at FSU.
Jacob Pugh, right? Was he still there?
I think so.
Yeah. Brian
Davis
Burns.
Jackson snapping necks out there.
I think they go 9-3.
Yeah, no, I feel pretty confident of that. You got true freshman Hamsa was just getting enrolled too. Yeah, tons of talent. Kane Doe was running in as a true freshman. Derek Noddy, Josh Sweat. Like you said, D-Lou, Marvin Wilson, a true freshman coming in. And Steven Gabbard. You can't forget Steven Gabbard either. Long snapper.
There you go. Georgia Ron took my next point. They probably get Justin Fields.
Oh, that could be true.
It's painful to look back on it.
It is kind of tough, man. It is kind of tough.
Back when we were hopeful.
But alas, here we are.
Yeah.
Thank you for the boosters and whatever his face was. Can't remember his name. I don't really care to. The whole old head of the booster program.
Alfred.
Him and Jimbo having a dick size contest.
Not Alfred.
And, yeah. Here we are.
Look where we're at. We're here on a Thursday night with our friends having a good time on a podcast live streaming to God knows where it's going. Talking recruiting, talking Knowles, talking basketball, talking NBA. I mean, what else is there to look forward to on Thursday nights, Nate?
Bed.
Sleep.
Sleep.
More oatmeal. Nate goes with it for a little bit, then he kind of gets ticked off about it. Oh, man. Well, this is probably the best of time to end this before Nate starts cussing me out. Or tweeting about me. He could tweet about me here soon.
No.
No. Oh, man.
Yeah, we're wasting my characters.
Oh, true. But, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for everybody hanging on with us tonight. I know we started a little bit later, and then we also unveiled and debuted the new streaming setup. Still kind of getting used to it a little bit. If the audio sounds a little bit different, it might take a couple weeks to get used to. Editing and also cutting and all that kind of stuff. But this is kind of the new wave. It's been really fun being able to interact with you guys live while we're on here. It's nice. It adds a different kind of element to it.
Make sure y'all. I'm gonna take every week some. Tweet me or put in the Discord, either one. I'm gonna take votes on what my name should be each week. I'm gonna leave it up to the listeners.
I vote Nate Greer.
Of course you will, because you're a chicken shit.
Damn.
Your name doesn't even show up.
I already know what next week is going to be. I already got next week, so we'll look at 2 weeks out.
All right. Well, Nate's we'll be live again next Thursday night. Hopefully, we were hoping to have some guests this weekend or this week, but next week we're going to have on maybe 2, at least 1, but maybe 2 current FSU commits to kind of give us the rundown on the Midnight Madness and recruiting and Mike Norvell and the relationships and all that kind of jazz. So look forward to an exciting episode next week. As always, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Google Play. Appreciate all of y'all for listening. If you're listening on YouTube right now, hit that like button, subscribe. We're posting almost daily now, and we're going live at least once a week. So definitely appreciate all y'all hanging out with us. Y'all be good. See you guys in the Discord, and have a great rest of y'all's week. Peace.